Welcome back to VitalVibe Kitchen. Today we are making something wholesome, delicious, and perfect for snacking or even breakfast on the go. We are creating homemade granola bars, and by the time you finish watching, you will not only know how to prepare them, but also how to adapt them to your taste, how to store them properly, and even how to turn them into little gifts for family and friends. Let's begin at the very start. Imagine standing in your kitchen with a clean counter, a mixing bowl ready, and all the ingredients laid out neatly in front of you. This already creates a sense of order and calm. Cooking or baking at home should not feel stressful. It should feel like you are giving time to yourself. And today we are focusing on something as simple as granola bars, but making them with care. The base of granola bars usually comes from oats. When you open a bag of rolled oats and pour them into a bowl, you will notice their light beige color and slightly nutty aroma. Oats are inexpensive, nourishing, and form the structure of these bars. Take a wooden spoon and stir them gently, letting them settle evenly in the bowl. This sound, a soft rustle, already feels grounding. You can almost sense that this humble ingredient will turn into something special soon. Now think about the binding element. Without something sticky or rich, oats would fall apart. For that, honey or maple syrup works beautifully. Take a spoonful of honey, lift it slowly, and notice how it flows in a golden stream. As it drips into the oats, it glistens, catching light in a way that makes the mixture already inviting. If you prefer maple syrup, the color is darker, the aroma deeper, almost caramel-like. Either way, this is what will hold the mixture together while adding natural sweetness. Granola bars are versatile, so you can add dried fruits, nuts, and seeds. Open a jar of almonds and give them a quick chop. Their crunch will contrast with the chewy oats. Add sunflower seeds, small but packed with flavor, and pumpkin seeds, flat and green, which bring both nutrition and color. For dried fruits, raisins are classic, but you can also try cranberries, apricots, or even dates. Chop them finely so they blend throughout the mixture. As you add these to the bowl, look at the colors building. Beige oats, golden honey, deep green pumpkin seeds, dark red cranberries, pale almonds. It looks like a mosaic, a mixture that feels alive and vibrant. Before mixing, consider adding a little melted butter or coconut oil. It gives richness and helps the bars set better. Pour a small amount, just enough to coat, and notice how it glistens over the oats and seeds. Use a spatula or spoon and start folding everything together. Take your time, because every ingredient deserves to be coated. The sound changes here, the mixture becomes sticky, and you can feel the weight increase as everything clumps together. Spread the mixture into a rectangular baking tin lined with parchment paper. Use the back of a spoon to press it down evenly, making sure to reach every corner. This step is important because if the mixture is not pressed firmly, the bars will crumble later. Imagine the satisfaction of cutting clean slices that hold their shape, so press slowly, firmly, and evenly. Now preheat your oven to a moderate temperature. While waiting, pause and think about the smell that will soon fill your kitchen. As oats and honey heat together, they release a warm, toasty, almost comforting aroma that feels like home. Slide the tray into the oven and let it bake gently. The surface will slowly turn golden brown, seeds will toast, and the sweetness will deepen. Stand near the oven window, peek inside occasionally, and appreciate the transformation. This simple mix of ingredients is becoming something whole and beautiful. Once baked, remove the tray and let it cool slightly. The smell now is stronger, richer, almost like warm bread combined with roasted nuts. Letting it rest is important because if you cut it too soon, the bars will break apart. Patience here rewards you with neat, firm slices. After about 20 minutes, take a sharp knife and cut carefully into even bars. The sound of the knife slicing through the mixture, a gentle crunch, feels satisfying. Lift one piece and notice its weight, its texture. Now imagine biting into it. The first crunch gives way to chewy oats, sweet bursts of dried fruit, and the nutty richness of almonds and seeds. Every ingredient has a role. The honey binds it all, giving sweetness that is natural and not overwhelming. The oats provide a chewiness that is comforting. The seeds and nuts give a crunch that makes every bite interesting. The fruits add little surprises, tangy or sweet, that make you smile. This is more than a snack, it's something wholesome, made with care, with your hands. At this point, pause to think about how flexible this recipe really is. If you like chocolate, you can melt a small square of dark chocolate and drizzle it over the top before cutting. It sets into thin, glossy lines, adding richness. If you enjoy spices, sprinkle a little cinnamon or nutmeg into the mixture before baking. That warmth carries through in every bite. You could even add a pinch of sea salt on top after baking to create a contrast between sweet and savory. Each adjustment makes the bars your own, personalized to your taste. The beauty of homemade granola bars is that they are not just food, they are also a choice. When you pick up a store-bought bar, you don't always know what goes inside. But when you make them at home, you control the sweetness, the texture, the balance of flavors. If you want less sugar, reduce the honey. If you want more protein, add extra nuts or seeds. If you like them softer, use more dried fruit. If you like them firmer, press harder and bake a little longer. Storing them is simple too. Wrap each bar in parchment paper or place them in an airtight container. They stay fresh for days and are easy to carry in a bag, ready for work, school, or travel. Imagine opening your lunch bag and finding a neat, homemade bar waiting for you. It feels satisfying to know you prepared it yourself, and it fuels you naturally without unnecessary additives. Granola bars can also be gifts. Place a few in a small box, tie it with string or ribbon, and you have a thoughtful, homemade present. People love receiving food made with care, and these bars show effort without being overly complicated. They also look rustic and inviting, with visible nuts and fruits, golden oats, and a sheen of honey. Now take another bite, this time more slowly. Notice the layers of taste. First the sweet honey, then the oat chewiness, then the burst of fruit, the crunch of nuts, the earthiness of seeds. It's like a journey of textures in your mouth. It's satisfying, not just because of flavor, but because you know it's nourishing. It feels like food that gives back energy instead of taking it. When you think about snacks, most people imagine something quick and convenient, but not always healthy. Chips, biscuits, packaged sweets, they satisfy cravings, but don't give your body lasting energy. Granola bars, however, strike that balance between convenience and nutrition. Making them at home takes them to a whole new level, because you are not only avoiding preservatives, but also tailoring each bar to your lifestyle. Picture yourself on a busy morning. Maybe you woke up late. Maybe you have no time to prepare a full breakfast. Instead of skipping the meal, you reach into a jar and grab one of these bars. It's compact, easy to eat, and gives you fuel for hours. The oats release energy slowly, so you don't get a sugar crash like with candy. The nuts and seeds provide healthy fats and protein, which keep you satisfied. The dried fruits give a touch of sweetness while also providing vitamins. All of this in a neat rectangle you prepared with your own hands earlier in the week. Let's step back for a moment and imagine the process again, but this time from another perspective. You are in a small kitchen on a rainy day. The light outside is gray, drops are hitting the window, and you want something warm and comforting. You take out a large bowl, pour in the oats, and the soft sound of them falling feels comforting against the quiet background. You stir them gently and feel their texture with your fingertips, soft, slightly coarse, almost silky in a dry way. Then you add chopped nuts, and the sharp little sounds of them landing in the bowl break the silence. Seeds follow, smaller, lighter, clicking against the oats. Finally, dried fruits, which make soft thuds. The bowl becomes a little world of colors and textures. Now you melt butter in a small pan. The butter foams gently, releasing a nutty smell, and you stir in honey or syrup. The mixture becomes golden, smooth, and fragrant. Pouring this liquid into the dry mixture feels satisfying, the golden stream coating beige oats, glossy seeds, and dark fruits. As you stir, the stickiness increases, and you need more effort, but that effort feels grounding. You are shaping something with intention. You press it into a tray, and the mixture resists slightly but eventually settles flat. This act of pressing feels symbolic, as if you're compacting energy into a form you can later hold in your hand. Slide the tray into the oven, and within minutes, the aroma changes the mood of the room. It's no longer just a rainy day. The air is filled with roasted oats, caramelized honey, and toasted nuts. Suddenly, the kitchen feels warmer, cozier, alive with anticipation. When you pull the tray out, the golden surface looks inviting, the edges slightly darker, the seeds shining. You wait for it to cool, then slice. Each slice feels like a little piece of effort turned into reward. When you bite into one while still warm, the chewiness and crunch together feel like comfort. That's the charm of homemade food. It's more than flavor. It's an experience that carries emotion. Think also about how versatile granola bars are across different lifestyles. For children, you can make them with less nuts and more dried fruit, cut into smaller pieces. For athletes, add extra protein-rich ingredients like chia seeds or a scoop of protein powder mixed with the oats. For people who love desserts, drizzle with chocolate or add a few chocolate chips that melt slightly during baking. For someone who prefers a savory twist, add a pinch of sea salt or even a sprinkle of spices like cinnamon or ginger. These simple variations make the same recipe feel new each time. Another way to personalize them is through texture. If you like them chewy, bake for a shorter time and keep the mixture slightly thicker. If you like them crunchy, press thinner and bake longer until the edges darken. When you break one of those crunchy bars, the snap feels sharp and clean, like biting into a biscuit. When you eat a chewy one, it bends slightly before giving way, filling your mouth with sticky sweetness and nutty bits. Both are satisfying, just in different ways. Granola bars are also practical beyond home. Imagine packing them for a hike. You're walking in the woods, hearing the crunch of leaves under your shoes, carrying a small bag with essentials. When you pause for a break, you pull out a homemade granola bar. In the middle of nature, unwrapping something you made yourself feels special. You bite into it, and the combination of nuts, oats, and fruits gives you renewed energy for the path ahead. It feels natural, fitting with the environment, like fuel provided by nature itself. Or imagine preparing them for kids' lunchboxes. Instead of giving them store-bought snacks, you wrap one bar in colorful paper or parchment with a small note. At school, when they open their lunch, they find not only food but also a little reminder of home. They take a bite, and the sweetness is gentle, not overwhelming, the texture balanced. It fuels them for playtime and studies. These little details create memories for them and peace of mind for you. Homemade granola bars also make moments social. Invite a friend over, and instead of offering packaged snacks, bring out a plate of bars you baked. Cut them into smaller squares, maybe drizzle with a bit of chocolate for elegance, and serve with tea or coffee. The conversation feels warmer when paired with something made by hand. Your friend takes a bite, compliments the taste, and asks how you made it. You share the process, and suddenly the simple act of making granola bars becomes a moment of connection. Let's not forget storage tricks. Wrap each bar individually in parchment paper and tie with a small string. Place them in a jar on your counter. Every time you see that jar, it feels inviting, like a treasure chest of snacks waiting for you. Or stack them neatly in a box, separating layers with paper so they don't stick. Keep some in the fridge for a firmer texture, almost like a chilled snack. Each method adds a little ritual to the way you enjoy them. Beyond practical uses, there's something almost mindful about making these bars. The act of measuring oats, chopping nuts, stirring honey, it's slow and grounding. In a world that often feels rushed, this simple process reminds you to slow down. Even waiting for the bars to cool teaches patience. When you finally cut them and take a bite, it's not just food, it's a lesson in mindfulness. You appreciate textures, smells, colors, tastes. Each bite reminds you of the effort you put in, and that makes it taste even better.
Finally, imagine sharing these bars outside of your home. Bring a batch to work and place them on a table for colleagues. Watch how quickly they disappear, how people smile and ask, "Who made these?" That sense of giving, of providing something wholesome to others, adds joy beyond eating. Food has always been a way to connect, and these bars, though simple, carry that power. There's a certain beauty in how something so simple can feel so complete. Granola bars don't need to be fancy to be satisfying. Their strength is in balanced sweetness that doesn't overwhelm, crunch that keeps your teeth busy, and enough nutrition to keep you going without guilt. Every bite feels like a small reminder that food doesn't need to be complicated to bring joy. Let's think about mornings again. Not the rushed ones this time, but slow weekends. Sunlight is coming through the curtains. You make a cup of tea or coffee, and instead of preparing a big breakfast, you simply place a granola bar on a plate. You sit near the window, sipping your drink, slowly chewing the bar. Its flavor is earthy, nutty, gentle, nothing aggressive. The sweetness is soft, just enough to complement the drink. In that quiet moment, you realize how small, homemade snacks can bring calm to your routine. In another scenario, you're traveling. Airports, trains, long drives. Food choices are often limited to fast food or overpriced packaged items. Having a few homemade granola bars wrapped in your bag changes the whole experience. While others queue for snacks, you simply unwrap one, knowing it's made with clean ingredients. You bite into it, and not only do you save money, you also feel good about what you're eating. That sense of control and self-care in unfamiliar settings is comforting. Let's expand into creative variations that push the boundaries a little. Imagine a tropical version with dried mango, shredded coconut, and cashews. The flavors take you straight to a beach, the chewiness of mango mixing with the crunch of nuts. Or a spiced winter version with ginger, cinnamon, and dried cranberries, perfect for holidays. It tastes almost like a festive cookie, but healthier. Then there's the indulgent version, peanut butter swirled into the oats, a drizzle of melted dark chocolate on top. It borders on dessert but still carries the nutrition of a snack. These variations prove that granola bars aren't boring, they can adapt to any mood or season. Think about the act of sharing recipes too. You make a batch, bring some to a neighbor, and along with the bars, you hand them a small card with the recipe written on it. That neighbor later makes their own, maybe changes it slightly, and shares it with someone else. The recipe travels from kitchen to kitchen, each person adding their own twist. What started as one tray of granola bars becomes a ripple of small connections across people. That's the quiet power of home cooking. It spreads warmth beyond your walls. Now, let's turn to children again. For them, food is not just about taste, it's about experience. Imagine involving kids in the making process. They pour oats into the bowl with clumsy excitement, scatter raisins like tiny gems, stir with exaggerated effort, giggling when some fall onto the counter. They lick a spoon coated with honey, eyes lighting up at the sweetness. When the bars are baked, they feel proud, pointing to the tray and saying, "We made that." Eating becomes more than fuel, it becomes pride and play. Those little moments shape their relationship with food, teaching them that cooking can be fun, not a chore. Adults, too, can find playfulness here. Invite friends for a casual evening, but instead of dinner, make it a snack workshop. Lay out bowls of oats, nuts, dried fruits, syrups, and let everyone build their own flavor combination. As the bars bake, the kitchen fills with overlapping aromas. You chat, laugh, share stories, and when the bars cool, you slice them and trade pieces. Each bar is different, carrying the personality of the person who made it. This turns a simple recipe into an experience, a memory that lasts longer than the snack itself.
Granola bars also hold emotional weight in small ways. Maybe you prepare them for a partner before their long workday. You place one in their bag with a note, and during a tiring afternoon, they find it. That one bar becomes more than food, it's a reminder that someone thought of them. Or you make them for an elderly family member who prefers simple, easy-to-chew snacks. They eat one slowly, appreciating not just the taste, but the effort you put in. These gestures may seem small, but food often carries emotions that words cannot. Let's think about texture in more detail, because it changes the experience dramatically. The first crunch of a nut contrasts with the chewiness of a raisin. Oats provide a base, sturdy but mild, letting the honey or syrup bind everything into unity. Seeds add occasional pops, tiny bursts of nuttiness that surprise your tongue. If you add chocolate chips, sometimes they melt slightly, creating little pockets of sweetness. Other times they stay firm, giving a snap. Every bite is a little landscape of textures, keeping your mouth engaged. Another angle is health consciousness. Many people are trying to cut sugar or eat more whole foods. By making your own bars, you can adjust sweetness to your preference, reduce fats if you like, or boost protein. You know exactly what's inside, unlike packaged versions with long ingredient lists you can't even pronounce. This transparency gives peace of mind. Every bar is a small step toward healthier habits, and those steps accumulate. There's also the financial side. Buying packaged bars can be expensive, especially if you want the healthier versions. Making them at home costs a fraction, especially when you buy oats and nuts in bulk. Over time, this small habit saves money while giving you better quality. It's like investing a little effort in exchange for both health and savings. And yet, despite all these practical benefits, the emotional side always returns as the strongest point. Because when you stand in your kitchen, pressing oats and nuts into a tray, you're doing more than cooking. You're setting aside time for yourself, choosing to care about what you eat, creating something tangible with your hands. When you later unwrap a bar, the memory of making it comes back. That invisible connection makes it more satisfying than any packaged snack could ever be. Finally, let's bring it full circle. At the end of the day, when you sit down with a cup of tea, you take a granola bar from the jar. You hold it in your hand, look at the little specks of nuts and fruits pressed together, and take a slow bite. The flavors are familiar but comforting. You feel a mix of nourishment and calm. In that quiet moment, you realize that small, simple recipes like these can bring more happiness than complicated meals. They fit into your life seamlessly. They travel with you. They connect you to others, and they remind you that food, at its heart, is about care. And maybe, just maybe, as you finish the last bite, you think about tomorrow, when you'll make another batch, try a new flavor, or share with someone else. Because food like this never stays still, it keeps moving, keeps connecting, keeps nourishing not only the body, but also the heart.